What is up, guys? Arnold Painter here. So I finally had luck in finding someone to play against to test out my deck that I want to make a deck profile out of, and it was a really cool dude. Thank you to said person because it was really fun. It was my first ever what is it called, rush duel, and it was intense, I gotta say. I just want to say in the beginning before I start anything, I'll make it quick and short. There were supposed to be 3 replays. I only have 2, and that is solely because I've never really used this program to save anything. And then when I was renaming the file, I clicked on everything to delete and then rename the file. And when I saved it, it apparently just ceased to exist. So sorry, the first game I did win. I was surprised that my deck did so well, and I'm playing against his spellcaster type deck. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, because I saw his stuff and he was pretty good himself. So thank you again, fellow Yugi enthusiasts. So we'll just continue on from the second game, and then from there I'll just analyze what happened. Okay, so here we go. Starting hand. I think I need to switch it. Okay, so this is my hand. So my deck is kind of anti-meta, and I don't want to do a kind of anti-meta-ish deck profile because I haven't seen that on YouTube, and also because I'm a very big anti-meta fan. And I just love the playstyle of being able to be in control and whatnot. So, and also that also includes having comebacks, even more of a comeback in this kind of game, because you're already having to draw until you have 5 is a big comeback factor, and that's the whole appeal of the game. So here I start off first, summon, discard, draw 1, summon, tribute, summon, and I decided to keep this guy in my hand just because in my head I'm a very strategic person. When I used to play in the TCG game, I would always be very technical, and I would always enjoy the more technical decks like Gladiator Beast and whatnot. So in this one I just decided to go summon 3, pass. I think that sometimes it's not very necessary to get rid of your whole hand unless you have a card that would be very beneficial to you the turn after, because a lot of the monsters as of now, except for Blue Eyes, and I forgot that one level 7 that when you tribute, your opponent can't tribute summon, and you yourself can't tribute summon until the opponent's end phase. They have very strong defense, but everything else has 15 or less of defense. So I decided to keep this guy in my hand and just let in my opponent commence in his turn. Obviously I don't know what he has in the beginning. He summons it, and I'm surprised. I'm like, whoa, what the heck, that's a pretty weak turn, because he doesn't have anything to summon face up, tribute summon, and whatnot. I draw my 4, and I'm like, okay, I needed more graveyard fodder into my graveyard so I can have this live, my Mirror Force, pretty much. And then I just proceeded to activate to MST something like his. Hopefully I hit the Mirror Force, but I didn't. So I just proceeded to attack, because at this point he only has 1 spellcaster type, and the whole point of this trap card is since he's using a magician deck or a spellcaster deck, I always call it magician. You can only activate this card when you have 4 spellcasters in your graveyard. You shove 4 of them into the deck, and then you destroy every attack position card in your opponent's side of the field. It's like a Mirror Force, but it has that little requirement. So at that point, and he didn't have anything else, I was just like, I was free to attack perfectly. 5200. He summons, set, tribute summon. He destroys one of my things, and of course in the middle it would be my Mirror Force. He proceeds to go on attack, so I'm like, okay, that's fine. I still have my dragon next turn, because this one you pitch a card in your hand, your opponent's monster that you target loses 700 attack and defense. I still have this one, which is live, which when your opponent's monster attacks, they lose 500 attack as long as you have a spellcaster in the graveyard. And I draw pretty good, but at this point I'm always checking his graveyard to see if he has 4 magicians, 4 spellcasters, and so he wouldn't have his Mirror Force live. So I think everything's okay. I proceed on with my turn, summon, tribute, summon, just to get rid of my hand, and I still keep that designated spellcaster in my hand, because it is very crucial to any other monster that he would summon, except for that level 8 monster that I mentioned with a 25 attack, 25 defense, and he happens to have that. And at this point, I think wait, how can he activate it? He doesn't have enough spellcasters in the graveyard. And I counted these guys, but for some reason I didn't count this one because he looks like a pyro type monster, and apparently it's a spellcaster. He shuffles all those 4 into back into his deck, destroys my monster. I'm like, okay, well I'm in a very tight spot. Set, summon, pitch, draw, summon again. That's the guy I was talking about. This guy, 25 attack, 25 defense, level 8. You can't, neither player contribute summon until the end phase of your opponent's turn. And yeah, I was like, oh man, I can't really do anything. But if I have this guy, it's fine, so I can get rid of him. But I was hoping I'd draw that Mirror Force trap card, and sure enough, I didn't. And in this point, I was like, I can't do anything. There's nothing to summon. There's nothing to summon here. I'm like, oh, okay, that's terrible. I've never been in this predicament before. But anyways, let's go into the third game, which gets very spicy. All right, here we go. I make him start first. I'm gonna swap this actually. I make him start first. The same summon, tribute, get dragon type monster. Luckily, that's nothing for me. At this point, I'm just like, I'm gonna summon. I'm going to summon this one other dude so I can pitch this guy and switch it to defense, and I could run it over. And then I set my trap cards because they would be live because this spellcaster type would be in the graveyard. So that is my my play here, and it's not a big deal. I'm like, okay, let's see what he gets to unload here in this turn. And I was surprised because there's nothing he could summon, obviously, and he has these cards which I don't know, obviously. And I'm like, okay, he only has 2 spellcaster types. That's fine. I'll just get to summon and just attack for as much as I can. Discard, pitch, discard, draw 1, summon, pay give my opponent 1,000, so you get 1,000, then attack directly. So the 1,000 are really irrelevant. It's kind of like Upside Goblin, summon. He activates 1. Of course, he gets it. And the only reason he gets it is because I already had these slots preoccupied before I got to set this card down. And that was very fortunate, but that's one of my 3 Mirror Forces. So at this point, I'm just like thinking, okay, he has 4, what is it called? 4 spellcasters in the graveyard. So I gotta be very cautious about my next attack. So he summons, pitch, dump from the graveyard, attack. So what I did here was I attacked. So these trap cards are kind of new to me. I don't know the specifics about it, but I initially thought that you could activate one right after the other as a chain or whatnot, because this is when your opponent attacks, your opponent monster loses 500. So I attempted to do that here because the rulings of this game are just very what is it called? They're not very apparent at the moment, and me, sometimes I'm very naive in certain kind of things like that. So I decided to like, okay, so if I activate this and then I activate this other one, let's see if it lets me do it. And when I attempted to activate this one, it obviously didn't let me activate the other one, and I was like, okay, now I know for future reference that I can't do that. So from here, I'm just like, okay, luckily I still had this guy in the field, pitch to draw a card, and then summon that guy, pitch to draw another card, and then from here, I want to get rid of my hand as much as possible, even though I potentially believe that he has a Mirror Force on the field. So I discard one of the cards here to decrease the attack. I kind of misplaced, I believe. I misplayed, yeah, because I was supposed to activate this card's effect to switch the guy to defense so I can run it over, but I messed up. So instead, I attempt to attack to crash into the magician, the 1600 attack magician, but he activated his Mirror Force. So I'm like, okay, that's great. I still have my set monsters. I'm not gonna lose this turn. He activates Pierce. He targets his one of his 7th magician, and he just proceeds to attack, take 3,000 life points damage, attack another 3,000. I'm at 400. I draw my cards, and I'm like, okay, that's perfect. I have my Mirror Force on me, my monster to pitch and draw, but I don't get to do that because I need these 2 monsters or my whole hand entirely to tribute summon for the 7th magician. I do set my Mirror Force, and I proceed to attack. He has nothing. I don't know why he didn't activate, honestly. 1, 2, 3. Oh, he only had 3, so he couldn't activate his other Mirror Force. So I was very happy that didn't happen. He summons again, pitch, draw a card, he activates effects, but I have my Mirror Force, so I destroy all his monsters. I still have more than enough Magician spellcaster type in my graveyard, and I draw another Mirror Force, which is an what's it called, more security for me. So I play it smart, and I summon, I set summon, and afterwards I use my effect to switch to defense. I summon this guy in 1500, I attack directly, he activates Mirror Force. I'm like, okay, that's great. I baited out the second to last, I believe, Mirror Force. That's already 2, and so I'm like, okay, that's fine. And he summons pitch, I believe, draw. He summons that one girl who increases the attack by paying 1,000, and increases 300 attack for every monster I have face up on my field, or your opponent's face up monsters. And he apparently attempts to attack. I have my Mirror Force. I'm okay. I summon, tribute, and I'm like, okay, if this is not game, then I still have my defense position monsters and these 500 lowering attack guys. And I activate my effects. I'm at 36 attack for 10 for game. Trap card activates, loses 500 attack, no big deal. 3100 goes directly, and I happen to win the game. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you, friend from Facebook, for helping me out and acquiring this replay of our game from earlier today. It was freaking fun, my first ever, and I will definitely be making a dip profile out of this deck because it was very effective. There are some cards that I still need to add to side deck, but aside from that, there are other cards that I need to switch from main deck, because that Prima, that's level 7 that you pay 1,000, all monsters gain 300. I didn't see much utility in my deck, which is anti-meta, and I need to see what I need to replace with that. And once that's done, then I will proceed to make a deck profile of it, because I'm very excited about this, and it's very different than what the usual either Dragon Archetype deck or Magician type deck is. Alright guys, again, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, and I will see you guys next time. Alright, later guys. Peace.